as a formidable political force. And this conversation will be led by beloved Kwesi E Baako. So, my lords, without taking much of your time, I'll invite beloved to radio culture. Assume position as the presenter for this reasoning. I give thanks. So, my lord, beloved, please.
Yes, I give thanks. Selassie, I give thanks. Give enough thanks. Ras Kofi, Charlie, Obadin Shao. All the good work that you're doing, it's not without result. It is getting great results. And all the other brethren in the Rastafari Council. Your chair will be greetings in the mighty name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I Jah, Rastafari. And today's me person my friend a lecture crap, because what we are going to do today is I'm going to try to coordinate ideas for the topic. The last time I spoke on the same subject, and we had quite a discussion about it. So I'm very happy about how things went that day. And then on the episode, we want to bring it a notch higher. We want to start speaking about how we can all put our ideas together on this particular topic. And today I'm going to be doing more comparing than anything else. But I'll also set a certain platform for us to have this discussion. First of all, when we are talking about political force, it does not have to be a body that is planning to go and stand for elections. Okay, that there's nothing wrong with that. If it's a way to definitely have control of some of the policies that govern our lives. But other than that, we can achieve political power without necessarily being one of the entities that are standing to be voted for, etc. I just want to say that just to set the framework properly for the discussion, because I don't want us to limit ourselves to Rastafari as a body where we have to form a body and go and try to get votes or anything like that. No, there are so many different ways of constituting a political force, and that's what we are here to discuss today. And again, by the powers invested in me as the moderator, by, of course, the governing body of this platform, what I'm going to do today is I'll be seeking opinions and ideas from some of our members in particular, who I know have some or a lot to say, but sometimes under one or the other circumstances, or one or the other circumstances, may not want to or speak or whatever. I don't know why, but I will be grabbing people to speak, because we really want to hear everybody's opinion as much as possible. And so with that said, I would like to first of all invite Dr. Kojo Oponwadie to give us a brief idea about what, the whole idea of Rastafari as a political force, the history of the inception of Rastafari. And you can say we're not talking all the way to ancients, of course. We're talking about Rastafari as a movement to this day, just a brief overview while I take a sip of water and come back to continue my work. Give thanks. Doc. Prof. Oponwadie. Radio, culture. Empire. Okay. I don't know. I'm saying, Prof. in already here. So let's get this thing going. Me say also you been a great input from the NDC Rasta Caucus. Almost one body that I'm very much interested in when it comes to this topic. We will try to hear what informed the opinion to form a body like that, to align with the NDC rather than the other political parties, especially the NPP, or maybe even CPP, since, the ideas align more along Kwame Nkrumah its ideology and all of that. It's my personal almost so ideas. And then what really is the end goal? What are we seeking to achieve from the NDC as a political party and all of that? No. Do we have any of the members know our board to say Anna? Our when you say me name so any of the members know what to say I don't think so as at now. But okay, that's another area that I would want us to take a good look at. You could join a political party and say you're peding as Rastafari in Ghana and what really are our you kind of saying issues again energy here and stuff like that. So we'll take a look at all of that. Ras Kwesi, Ube bail me out for just a few minutes and just to I think I was trying to get Prof on that subject, but if you can bail me out for just a couple minutes, so I can come back with I need to grab some notes real quick, please.
Radio and culture.
For you, right?
You said?
What's the name of this spot in the mountain?
I'm a Pachopa. I'll be right back.
Cool. Yeah, so basically what we look forward to be say when Jah Beloved come back, we're gonna focus on Rastafari. Say, this is what we want, concrete things. Sometimes it may feel odd when you say the first time, but we go to stand on those things and say, these be things where we want as Rasta, right? No, be this be the things where we hear some NGO they want, or some, Christian body or religious body they want, right? But this is what Rasta people they want. That'd be what I'm be interested in, So, Jah Beloved, you back?
I'm back. Give thanks. You've enough
forward
thanks.
it for us.
Yes, sir. All right. So, first of all, I would like us to examine the point that I was making earlier about not necessarily being a force that is interested in seeking even political power per se, rather than influencing political decision, right? So that is something that we really need to look at. Now, I have to say that some people, some progressive people have used the strategy where there's a very good synergy between bodies that act like a think tank for the nation, no, and the government, whereby the government, rather than being hostile to ideas from such bodies, no, rather tap into their energies and use it, Crampo, as a pressure group on itself. I always talk about strategy. Yeah, I'm funny say, see how she see a Ghana. Maybe example, right? She see a Ghana. Nobody sees that the Ghanaian youth are angry about how the land is raped for gold, and the government is given a pittance. Nobody is showing that. No, I won't say nobody, because recently we've seen some agitation on this subject, right? Ghana, look at how, and the sad thing is, even if we had something to show for it, it would have been less painful. It would still be painful, But if there was some type of something that we can point to say, oh, after all the gold that they robbed from the land and degraded our land like that, all the river bodies that they desecrated like that, we exchange that for this and that and the next thing. What do we have to show for it? Nothing. Less than 10% of the proceeds. That's disgusting. Now, the government on its own, without any form of agitation, sorry, that's all. Say, oh, yeah. I mean, it works sometimes. We've seen that happen, where the government will just get up and rewrite the rules and just, flow with it or go away. And we've seen that. Some of us are crying for that. But sometimes it's easier for the government to do that when there's internal agitation about some of these things. And this is why a progressive government would rely on a think tank like that political force. Now, you can watch them now. To be the people who will ignite that agitation that will eventually end up as change, right? That will eventually end up as change in the country or in the whatever jurisdiction. Let me dwell on that example that may kind of a little more. Imagine, say, I'm up for sorry all of a sudden. Now, instead of the anger going on to whoever the anger is going on. Because right now, if you go to a place like Obuasi, Pristia, places like that, there's a lot of anger among groups and pockets of people there, right? On any TV, but or security guard, company anymore, or no koko guard, hodoma onya kwine and konko fa hong kong the galam say. So maybe they smile with them and everything, but so Shen will be before for it's a different story. Okay, we're going through all of that now. When there's that anger, instead of being towards each other, it's rather directed at the person now. And what's the anger directed to now? Then there will be a coordinated effort towards dealing with the issue. So this is what I'm saying. Instead of the security guard now, or security guard or Anglo Gold Ashanti, or the enemy, quote unquote, of nipa no person galamsey because of person bypass. And these days galamsey no the definitions in the Dawson, so it's even hard to situate the thing properly. We did some work on galamsey about over a decade ago. Back then, the issue was not river bodies at all. The issue was with you're kind of saying the people going over to Obuasi, for instance. That's where we did the work at. People going to the company, to scare off their you're kind of saying security guards and stealing their ore or digging underground pits into their concessions and all kinds of different things. It had nothing really, very little, I should say, to do with river bodies. Now, we have multinational companies. Well, I won't call them multinational companies. We have other nationals in Ghana actively desecrating our forests with the, collaboration of the people who should govern us. Now, if all the anger towards each other is all put in one pot and coordinated properly, without even necessarily being negative against the government now or more run it, because the thing is this: a change of government does not necessarily guarantee better living standards for the people, better policies for the future and stuff like that, right? And I'm not necessarily interested in changing the governments all the time. I'm interested in changing the policies that these people make. So let's say they have a government which has a year on the ground for what the people think and feel, right? And to say, or kickstart, let's use strategy, people. And I think some people have used it. They will get progressive minds, progressive bodies, like the one that I'm proposing, right? To start the agitation, to start the conversation, to direct the narrative, right? That, for instance, gold, let's look at Magafuli of Tanzania's, example. Or say, first of all, I'm rewriting the rules. Rules na me rewriting, Obia entimi emfa asem esi wo Tanzania has say enko any international body in Konko di asem no. So if you have anything that you think say say that matter is going to be judged here in Tanzania under our laws. Beyond that, or say every country, every company be a mobile mine gold the government has 10% shares in your company, automatic, without putting a red cent in there. They already have 10%. And some someone can some top further shares or whatever, what that's the different matter. But automatically, without putting $1 on the table, every company that comes into the country, the government owns 10% across board. Yankan royalties as before the royalties, which he also negotiated from a paltry under 10% to I think say 16 or something percent, which still is very meager if you ask me. But I think this guy is using strategy, right? Walk, trot, run. So at least he did something. He did, and then in turn, he told the people, okay, this is what we need. We need faster transportation. We need networks of railways and stuff like that to get about faster, to get roads into our rural areas and stuff like that. And to say no more bar, we actually give it to you as some type of a barter thing, right? Build the railway. We are China for me, boy. Some about 1% to gold. Okay, money railway here. Money railway from Accra and Konkosi Paga. Now mo say biem and free Lome and Fankati across in Konkosi. You can say Elubo. Then something along those lines. But all those things, so it becomes easier for the people who have to go out to make policy to do when the international bodies realize that there's internal agitation on those matters. And if there's serious agitation on mining, for instance, there's a lot of pressure on the government. Say, you know what? We cannot sacrifice our water bodies for 10%. And to shut down mining. Anybody really wants to mine, let's renegotiate the contracts. And then put in something that is more sensible than under 10%. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. So I just wanted to use that to set the discussion of, say, when we talk about political force, we're not saying, say, it has to be necessarily registered with the Electoral Commission, for instance, for them to come and bully me in the first place and all of them think they say, oh, you crowd, you don't, you all of them, no, screw that. I understand. We have a political force that can be non-partisan, completely non-partisan, issue-based, right? Anybody within that movement, we do not care whether your sympathies are towards NPP or NDC, as long as you have the policies right. Because that is the problem with the politics of Ghana and by extension, the rest of Africa, most of the rest of Africa, right? Because the thing is this, they put you in groups. They force you into groups. So down in Ghana, for instance, NDC and NPP, they can't see eye to eye. They can't think along, let's plan to make the people's lives better. They can only think along the lines of, how do we stay in power? Right? Of course, some of them are a little better than the other. I would not say more than that. But what I'm saying though is this, right? Instead of thinking together as people, because for instance, I've seen the NPP boycott national dialogue twice. If you really want to contribute to making people's lives better, why don't you come and have your say when you've been invited? I don't know. But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. We need a system where people put their minds together. We need a development plan. So that regardless which government is in power, you can't even touch it. The people say that in the next 10 years, they want hospitals everywhere. They want a road network everywhere so that when they grow cashew in Bono Easter, it doesn't take them 2 weeks to cart to Accra or sit and wait for somebody to come from India to buy it. We need a plan. That's the big problem though. What is the plan? I bet my bottom dollar, if you ask 100 people, say, you get at least 60 different answers. 60 at least. I'm being charitable. All I'm saying is that it's not easy to even get two people to agree on the same thing. So it's important that we also set a framework for what we want as a people. What do we want? That's what this discussion, for instance, is for, right? So we can collect ideas from each other rather than me giving a lecture. I'm throwing in my 2 cents. And I believe, say, other people will also, add on to that, put more, puzzles on the board, and before you realize, you have the total picture, or at least a good part of the picture that will serve as a framework to start off with. So I would like to pull the brakes at this point, not completely, but I would like to hear, as I stated, some reasonings along those sides. And if if the NDC caucus no members need to say, please let me know, because I'm really interested in having a discussion along, those lines also, where we can look at, as I said earlier, what's the end goal? What do we really want? We know what we want. For instance, as Rastafari, we don't want nobody to bully us in our use of the sacred herb. Is it something that's on our plate? Is it something that we have thought of presenting some type of petition to the government about? Just a couple of days ago, and just this morning, on our show on iCulture TV and Radio Culture, we interviewed two people. One of them, a aggrieved father, a nurse, right? And from the reports we got, he was a very, affable young guy from the community, you cry, say, Oko Hospital, now say, Ufia, because it's a small community. It's a town called Yamfo, and because it's such a small community, everybody knows everybody, kind of thing. And to say, how are you doing and stuff like that, right? Such a person is picked up by police. Say almost or something, like some stupid nonsense like that. And before you realize, they've killed the boy. Almost 1,500 CDs. He said he didn't have it. Omonene Kasai, so I'll say, okay, I can get 1,000 CDs for you. On top of 1,000 CDs, not the more, they beat him up and killed him. And then dumped him at a hospital where the story said they found him unconscious on the roadside. But unfortunately for them, they picked two of them up, right? So the other guy, now they picked him up, after we knew, what were they going to do? They were either going to have to kill this other guy or let the witness free. You see? So yes, they couldn't kill the boy. They had to let the witness free. And now 12 policemen are in danger. Why? Because some young guy who everybody says is a great guy was so what the heck? And so that's what we want. We don't want nonsense like that to be happening. We want that to stop. I think that if you take all the things, and I'm not saying that that's the biggest thing that we want, but definitely one of the top 3 things we want is that nonsense to stop. So baby, right? We have heard countless stories on this same platform about people who are picked up or who are even stereotyped, profiled for the dress that they wear. When somebody sees you, they see the 5-finger leaf, like regardless whether you use it or not. And that's something that we have to talk about. So NDC caucus in the Rastafari NDC caucus, I'm very interested in finding out what the plan is. Are you planning to bring this matter up? Are you planning to, what's the story? Let's hear something, I'm very interested in having that discussion. And if Daddy Bosco is here too, please, we need to issue as a body a statement on that young man's death. We need to do that. We need to prick the conscience of the whole community. The whole community.
It's not only him.
Yes. Oh, yes. Kex, everybody. Yes. I'm saying because he's the president.
No, it's not only him who has been killed.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm saying I don't need the most recent.
3 or 4 people.
I agree with you, and I'll let you speak about that in a little while. Kex, thank you very much for chipping this in. But the American said this is the most recent way now. You bet me ejina so the IABB, right? And there's already a lot of agitation because if you follow the story, the youth of the town went to go burn down the police station. Ghana, people see them as docile. It's because they don't get pushed enough. When you push them enough, they react. They burned down the police station. I saw the video. The policemen were fleeing. Almost the van BBC baby, right? Because the guys ran, and they were not even from that area. They ran and went to go hide in the police station. The youth went there, marched down the police station. The cops had to escape through the back door and run into the van. And while they were running, they were still pelting them. The youth are very angry. And we have to, this is what I'm talking about. This is the political force we are talking about. If we build on that, the government will be forced to react. Because the narrative now that I am putting forward right now, and he said, let's look at the father. The father doesn't smoke weed. The father, Samani did 30 years. Our nurse, an asset to the nation, to his community. In the prime of his youth. Now we're for some stupid nonsense like Wakonun we and then beat him to death. Let's forget about the youth for a little bit. Apologies to the youth. But let's focus on the man. Because it's only when people like that get to think about the real implications, that's when we will get results. Otherwise, right? But how about the fathers who suffer as a result of nonsense like this? Kex, I beg you, step in and give me some more examples. Give thanks.
Yeah, greetings.
Radio culture.
There's a youth called Buju who was killed in Kokrobite, I think some couple years back, just because of he was arrested with weed same way and police mishandled him and he died. I know some brethren who were on the platform can remember that. There's a story of a woman, a 90 years or so woman, some old lady, who was using ganja to make soup to serve up chop bar. I think some people like the soup, so they make her when they come arrested. She was taking care of 9 children. And they go lock her up and she died in the prison. Ganja didn't kill her, but the enforcement of prohibition of ganja killed her. And also there's a youth called Jamal. He was selling a weed at our Shining Beach here. And when the police was coming, he ran into the sea. And one policeman just took the gun from his brethren and started firing at him in the water indiscriminately. Why? And the boy, out of panic, he got drowned in the water. You know. And even our own brethren, Brother Mike, is in Kokrobite, some elder brother. He's working as mashup today because they catch him for ganja before and brutalize him. Why I'm highlighting all these things is that the herb itself is not, the harm they say the herb will cause for us, does not kill us. The harm they say the herb will cause to us does not kill us. So therefore, the enforcement where you want to do something, you say it's not good for me, and you are coming to prevent me, and then you rather kill me. I'm not a criminal. I don't have any criminal record. And then you just arrest me. And these police guys, the government has empowered them with this law that they just go around and arrest people and take money from them and enrich themselves and use government time and money. And it's all waste of money. It's unproductive. So we need to, that's why I said the other day, somebody said we should rather go and see the minister. We need to petition them. I think this 20th April, we want to do that. Petition them so that we can highlight all these things in the petition and let them show them the danger of the enforcement. And also, they should prove to us why parliamentarians in Ghana make a law that cannabis is illegal or ganja is illegal. We need to know why. They have to explain to us why. If there's a health reason or any other reason why they passed that law, we need to know. Because if it's a health reason, we will challenge them in so many ways, whereby they can say there's no health hazard from smoking cannabis.
Okay, I think I can hazard a guess. One thing that they will definitely highlight, that there's an international convention that we are signatory to. That's the rule of thumb for them. That's the first thing they will tell you.
So we take them to the conventions and see what it is, what is written in the convention, or what took place that time there, like the 1922 convention or 1909 convention, or the one which was I think 1940 something or so, or 70 something, one of them. But the latest one has, I think you have to do that research and get back to us. There's the latest convention which has taken ganja from Schedule C to Schedule A to Schedule C. So it's no more considered as a hard drug, and the United Nations has allowed countries to use their discretion to pass laws concerning cannabis. So they can't use their conventions again to tell us anything. The reason why they are what gives them that discretion? Because when we went to court, we wanted to march, and the police took us to court. The impression I got there is that people just don't want to go to smoke weed. the judges and things, or they were not happy when after our lawyer explained that, oh, cannabis is used for industrial purposes, blah, 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 blah. Then the judge said, yeah, that one we can accept, but not people going around smoking the weed. So I wanted to ask him, I didn't know if I could ask him, but I thought my lawyer would ask him why. He should explain why he doesn't want people to go around and smoke their weed. You know, we need to take this issue very seriously and maybe leave Parliament and all these politicians and go to the Supreme Court for the interpretation. But the brethren who has offered to give us that, I need to call himself, who has offered to help us, we need to know his term, because he said we ourselves cannot wake up and go and do that. So somebody have to, who is a neutral person, who have to wake up and raise the motion.
Neutral as in what? Neutral as in what? Neutral as in non-citizen of Ghana? Because all we are citizen of Ghana. Like what? The person doesn't have to be Rasta. What does neutral mean?
Like, because we now, they will talk, we just want to smoke, that's why we are reading the law. But someone who does not have anything to do with smoking or anything, who is trying to...
And how do they even determine that, Rasta? That's what I'm trying to find out. How do they determine that? If I go right now and say, I want to, how do they determine? Did they see me with a spliff in my mouth? I'm trying to find out, Rasta. I'm just trying to educate myself here, though. Because neutral, I don't know. I know some Rastas who have never smoked, right? Do they qualify as neutral?
Like the brethren who fought for it in South Africa, he was still a Rasta man. Mm-hmm. But he had good grounds to fight for it. So I think we'll talk to the guy, I'll engage the guy so that we will make a meeting with him and see how we go ahead over this.
Yes, definitely. We need expert advice on that, you know, in how to, because the thing is this. Again, one question I want whoever brings the matter up to ask me, say, the marijuana in the United States, for instance, which is sold in stores, right? From where I sit right now, I can get up and within the next maybe 15 or so minutes, I will be in a store where I can, without even being asked for an ID card, unless I look really young and the person is worried and then may ask to see my ID card, right? But for the most part, and remember, I live in a state in which it's not even legal, right? But it's federally legal. So I can actually walk in a store and buy it. Weed now make kotono. I'm making a quick point, I beg. The weed that I'm going to buy from there, no, is it different from the weed in Ghana? Now, how come the weed in Ghana is so bad and terrible and make people go crazy? And the weed in the United States, no, it's okay. People can go and buy it.
Yeah, Jah beloved.
Yes.
Is it not this who have colonized the minds of our people to behave like this? Before the white man came here, we had no prohibitions on herb. There were no prohibitions on herb. It was just going anywhere. You could go for any herb you like. It was free. It was the white man who brought all these restrictions. But I think that we are dwelling too much on herb.
Yes.
Because we are talking about
as a political force. I agree with you. I agree with you. You are welcome to redirect the discussion, Rasta. Take us through.
Very well.
So yes, make a point, I beg you. Mapse, I'm interested in what you think about, you know, the political force thing. I beg, talk to us.
You know, last time I forgot to say something. When you were in is it the business, Rastafari business, or what I think? Yes. You know, if you want to make money, you must think about making money on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis. If you're not making money on a daily basis, you can't accumulate money quickly. So I'm thinking that can Rastafari go into water production so we can make money on a daily basis? What about gold business? Before the white man came here, that was our business. Can't we buy gold and sell it to our brethren outside, or even hire some people to turn it into Rasta paraphernalia, ganja leaf, lions, things like that? I mean, RCG can do this one. Let us look into that one too. Yeah. But today's topic, you know, before Rasta be a formidable force, there are certain things we must look at. One, we must. I'm giving much respect to David because he taught me more or less of this. We must look for excellence. We must pursue excellence, perfection, and run away from mediocrity. But if we begin to rationalize our weaknesses, we will be no different from all the things, all the forces around, all the movements around. Unless we decide to fight excellence, we decide to pursue excellence, and then fight the lower man, the man that would like to, go to the beast, who would like to follow the basic instinct. Come on, yes. Basic thing, Rasta, excuse me, just 1 minute.
Mm-hmm. All right, yes, Prof, why you available to say that to chime in real quick? Prof, upon there.
Me too.
Yo, Nana, inti me pacho fa kakraka homa yen. Rastafari as a formidable political force.
Nana man kasa na me kasa show.
Yo. No worries, crap.
Okay.
Yo.
Yes.
All right.
I'm back.
Okay.
Let me continue, Kwesi.
Yo, Twaso.
Yes. So the higher man is the one that looks like God. The lower man is the one that looks like the devil. Are we rationalizing the lower man? Are we pampering the lower man, or we are killing him? If we don't try to kill the lower man and fight for the higher man, we become no different from all the forces or all the movements around. Now, let me cite an example. I think some time ago there was this news with the Rasta youth who was at Motown. And all of a sudden, blood became tomatoes, tin tomatoes or tomato paste. If at this level, we can do this magic, when we have got no power, when we have got no clout, when there is nothing to defend, nothing to lose, and we want to manufacture such a story, if it is not true, the truth, see what will become in 10 years' time. Rome is if there is nothing at stake, I've got nothing to lose, I'm prepared to do this. To turn blood into tin tomatoes, to save your face. I don't know whether that is what I think. And if we are doing that now, when we have got no power, what will happen when we get power? Are we not going to kill human beings? So let us not forget about the fact that we must pursue the higher man and leave the lower man. And then 2, the different mansions in Rastafari. Suppose Rasta is a political force. Rastafari is given a chance somewhere. Those who are intelligent in evil, they can decide to divide, what is it, set you against yourselves. I can say something and all EWF members will run away, or all 12 members will run away, or all the people will run away and divide us against ourselves. Have we reached that level of tolerance and discipline to be able to accept our differences and work together as one, so that nobody can set us against ourselves? Or immediately I say this one, everybody will begin to fight against each other. Have we reached that level? Before we can become a political force, this is what we must be thinking about. So in short, we must fight for the higher man and kill the lower man. If we don't do this, we'll be no different from all the people around. If you rope, thank you very much.
Enough thanks, brethren. Enough thanks, Mapse. One. Okay. So except that I just want to also chime in, say, constituting the way say, formidable political force, I don't think that me, for instance, when I start thinking about that, I don't even think along the lines of EWF and 12 tribes and all of that at all. I think all the way to the farmer Bikra, maybe the man hasn't even heard about His Majesty's namesake before, but the principles that he lives with, is rust to the core. And this is the energy now we see harnessing together. Because truth of the matter is, we as card-bearing members of Rastafari, then funny say, card-bearing members of the mansions of Rastafari, or even all of us put together, I don't think we will make a big enough force in terms of numbers, right? And by the way, it doesn't correlate with impact, so don't get me wrong. But I'm saying, in terms of numbers, I don't think no crampo enough, right? But however, when we consider ourselves as people like Yekasama, all these other people who have no microphones, who have no newspapers, who have no social media, but at a no me here or mono, and no na yen standing for, no na yen advocating for, right? So we see ourselves in a movement with them, and that's how we become a big movement. Internet make us a numbers versus impact. No, let's look at Kwame Nkrumah's example, for instance, right? Kwame Nkrumah is somebody, and he maintained that throughout his life, because even after he was overthrown, they realized that the man never stole from the people. Never. Nobody has a single example of Kwame Nkrumah stealing from the people. Rather, no, market women put their money together to build a Peduase Lodge for him. They built it for him, Kwame Nkrumah. But was it there be? Let's give it to the state. First of all, market women, according to history, the market women, he could have appropriated it to himself and willed it to his children without anybody raising a finger, because really and truly, it was given to him. This is the man who had property of Ghana written on his suits. Never stole from the people. Because all the time, or dream about the people that he's representing. Kwame Nkrumah was somebody who was roots. Kwame Nkrumah knew every nook and cranny in Ghana. Onim Krabiase. Onim how people live. Which is why he knows their priority. And this kind of snowballs back to the point I was speaking earlier about what we want as a people. No? Believe me, there are some people that determine that you pay as a people will be lost. Let's face it. There's this show that we have on our Wese. It's a whimsical show where the people go out and they ask a nonsense question and get people's reaction and stuff like that. They went out one day and said, oh, the king of Australia, or Ghana. Now, how and you'll be shocked some of the responses people gave. Some of them are, so I'm saying, left to some people, no, what the show monsa, least said the better. And every generation, every time, there are some people, some special somebody, or some people who would think for the people, excuse my language, because I'm not saying that people can't think, but there are people who direct the thinking, because Kwame Nkrumah independence, all the other people who were not even thinking about that, they came to realize, oh, now I could see Bonin can't check with them on sorry Kohabio. Now me myself too, my uncle is the minister of something for it came with something that people could appreciate. Right? So again, when we talk about constituting a political force, we who are representing whatever force have to think along the lines of what the people need and want. And both of them are important. Yes, they have what they need, but what they want is also important. Right? So we take all of that into consideration, and then we see where the agitation should go. And if I had any power of any sort at all, I would have put a 10-year moratorium on mining, general mining, including Anglo Gold Ashanti. 10-year moratorium within which we are renegotiating all the terms from scratch, from the heading to the last dot. And 10 years is a long time to do that. We have enough time to do that. By which time our water bodies hopefully would have recovered and everything. And then we sign sensible contract. Then if we have to mine, we do it responsibly. And we have something to show for it. Now I keep saying again, a lot of that will come from bodies like I and I as Rastafari, right? Which is why we have to be visible. We have to be visible. Everything that happens, especially things that have something to do with us, our voice has to be heard. Like this young guy that has been shot to death, our voice has to be heard on the matter. Put pressure on Yehonu, the IGP, to investigate the matter and bring the 12 people to book. And while they are at it, start thinking about revising that stupid law that makes it okay for a policeman to harass somebody on the suspicion of marijuana. I went to Ghana. I told you this on this platform the other time. Miteka Amuko baby. Of all of us know, the guy pokes his head in the car and doesn't see anybody else than the 5-pointed leaf sitting over there behind the driver, and he pulls me out, starts frisking me and everything in public. Obi Papa. This is what we are talking about. So if you have a solid political force, your solid body, your kasa, it makes impact, your kasa, and that's why we have to not just talk, but act. Young first our boy we add with the test case. Put pressure on the IGP and make sure that something is done. When the IGP gets a letter every week asking for an update on the matter from the Rastafari Council Ghana, Obehum said there's a body called Rastafari Council Ghana. It gets printed on his psyche subconsciously. Next time, you tia Onimo, on what you stand for, Onimo. And that way, we can get it. Believe me, a lot of the conscious things that you hear in Parliament these days, came from some of these things that we say. I can use Ras Mubarak as an example for you. Ras Mubarak had years of reasoning with Rastafari, but Ras Mubarak is not a Rastafari in that sense. He is Rastafari, but he's a Muslim, really and truly, right? But his ideology, when he goes to Parliament, the things that he stands for, the things that he speaks for, are influenced heavily by some of the conversations he had with people like us. And that's what we mean. So it may take us a while. Some people may decide to go with the register with the EC, which is fine. Some people may decide to go and join the other parties like the NDC, Rasta Caucus, which is fine. Because especially, imagine say Kwesi E Baako in the Musana so be general secretary of the party, for instance. That's a big deal, right? But I'm saying that's also another. But mostly, let's not think about necessarily being a body that has to register with the Electoral Commission. Let's think of ourselves as a body that influences policy, that pushes the people who make the policy, to do the right thing. Yes, I. MCOB person Anna. Mapse.
I think that before the ganja, apart from the ganja agenda, like you rightly said, see it in Kasama Nkrofona, like what reggae music does, speaking for the voiceless. The Ghana for Doma Koma Super Muntimin Kaisi, come on, man. There's been my formidable force.
Yes, fuck.
Royalties once. Royalties, yeah, maybe your friend is maybe 2 years. You're so called promotion. You see that? And say you have to grade 10% of grab. And last time I had something on air, was it part or something like that? Say Ghana banks in a great mentor reg back.
And young Kwesi Asem, Mapse, me bow be partial. And young Kwesi Asem say company, ebetimi ato reg, na nation, mentor reg. When companies are formed within nations, sebi, yan saben ne was asking.
But the meter can say, if we can start fighting for increment of royalties and things like that, even the politicians will support us.
Yes.
These are the things, apart from the ganja fight, what are the other issues which are crucial, which Nkrumah did, the things that Nkrumah did, he failed. What are some of the things we can put pressure, like you are saying? If we become a pressure group, a pressure force, that will make us formidable, speaking for the voiceless, not only injustice, but also things that must be done, especially the colonial master. Because you know what? I've seen the white people have got some, I will say, respect. They see Rasta differently from they see other people. When they are dealing with Rasta man, I think they are more careful. That's what I've seen. I don't know, I could be wrong. But I think that if we use that cloud, if we use that power, we can go very far so that we can decolonize the system. You see, so we can add this one to our ganja agenda as well, or ganja fight, Thanks very much, my brother.
Nice one. Give thanks, Mapse.
Good talk.
All right. Any other inputs?
Adding to what Mapse have just said, we need to become like kind of a civil society, a pressure group, whereby as this John Mama just tweeted. I saw it in the Twitter today that in X today that your mama is suggesting that we should start nationalizing our extractive sector. the minerals and other extractive sectors. We should nationalize it. It's a talk. I think we have to.
Oh, he
push.
tweeted that?
Yeah, I saw it on X.
You see,
today.
This is what I'm talking about. So something like that has to be backed by intense agitation from the public.
Yes. So, solid one.
Yes. Give thanks, President.
Radio culture.
If Ghana for and I said Ivory Coast for the common people want African unity, it will come in one day. But that's what the president do for. It's like a double track system. Why did it come? Because most of the parents want to send their children to the big schools. So the politicians have to do that for them to make them happy. That's why I've got double track. So if the masses want something like you are saying, definitely the politicians will do it. Now, if you want to be a political force, sometimes when we go to radio, when we get a mass media, we go normally religious. But if we go political, show what the parties are afraid of doing, show what the politicians are afraid of doing, of the nation. That's a formidable force. For example, we have signed a contract that go doing I assign among the 95%. Can't we also make a law? Say, if you mine gold, that the money must not leave the country in less than 5 years. You must keep it in our banks. Must say 95% of 5 years. How difficult is that?
Simple as that. And Magafuli showed the way. Magafuli showed that it can be done. Okacha will say, listen, we are raising it to this part. First, I must say, then be young chance. So okay, park and go. Now, one can say a car will body dismantle infrastructure and the crowd. No, it's not worth it. So they go and reconsider it. Okay, 16%. No, your budget is or 16% the crowd must have to imagine. They call 18%. He held them by the nuts because it's not hard though. It's not hard. You know what it is? We've had years and decades of these companies feeling entrenched. So they've put in a lot of investment to the point where it's not easy for them to withdraw that investment. So that gives you an advantage to renegotiate. Because the cost of retreating and us withdrawing, it's not even easy like that. It's better they just agreed to giving you the extra 3% or so now. And we have to take advantage of these things. You know what the current minister did, which I think is commendable, right? So we have e-levy, we have emission tax, we have COVID tax, some stupid taxes like that. How do people get taxed for COVID? But that's another story. But they had these taxes, right? And then when he came, he said, okay, I'm taking away these taxes. Meanwhile, taxes are such that if you take it away, you need something to replace it. He said, okay, fair enough. Don't worry about it. They took away those taxes. Yeah, I'm making point too quick. He took away those taxes. I'm coming, please. Let me land on that point. He took away those taxes, and then what he did is he put an extra on the mining people their taxes. So instead of taxing people to get the revenue that they need to do things with, he's now taxing the mining companies who should even be taxed more. But it's a step. So that's the kind of approach that we should consider using. For instance.
Excellent idea.
Yeah,
we need to tell the government.
All right, go on.
Or if you want to say something, say it first.
I just wanted to say that the COVID-19 tax is because of the debt incurred during the COVID-19 pandemic. That's the reason.
There was no debt incurred, Rasta. Zero. It was a profitable venture for the government. I can prove that to you. There was no debt incurred. Debt incurred doing what? Profitable. Debt incurred doing what? They didn't do a damn thing. All they did was tax people at the airport. And even that, and I don't know if you've been following the story, they can't even trace the company that was taking our money at the airport. The minister in charge of that said he doesn't know the company. That's another story. But I'm saying there was no cost at all. They got money to deal with COVID, which they did not use to deal with no COVID.
Yes, Rasta. Kwesi.
Mitio Nana.
More question B. The police say that every man has got a price. What is the price of Rasta?
Selassie is the price of Rasta. If you put something that overpower the power of His Majesty, that makes more sense than Haile Selassie, then maybe I have a price. That's my response to that.
Rastafari.
Selassie.
You get where I'm coming from?
Not quite, but yeah, if you can maybe throw more light.
Neutralize you by buying you away. So we must think about what is our price? What price are we going to put on what we are doing, so that if we become a formidable force and somebody decide to, okay, let me see Kwesi, let's see whether we can give Kwesi passport.
You have a price only when you are selling something, Rasta, and I don't think we are here to sell. So there's no price, if you ask me.
If you, I know you understand the word a formidable political force.
Yes.
Naturally, be stepping on toes. You'll be stepping on toes. So some of those toes we like to, react with you. Can you come to a compromise? In that case,
no compromise is what I'm saying, Mapse. If you start any fight, any struggle on the basis, on the heels of an already laid down compromiser, you're joking, brother. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying if anybody does that, right? You're going to war already on with the mindset that you are going to call a truce. is the kind of analogy that I'm trying to make here. I don't think we should think of a compromise at all. There should be no compromise. Because the yen standing for no, and yankasa yedio, yankasa mumma Mercedes Benz car ni yendemu. Okay, me nya no ma wanam so kill them mame, and yashi imagine a Hyundai or something like that. No, sir. We're saying, say, make the lives of the people better, including my own people and myself. It's a cross-board. So where does the compromise even come in? Like the price now, yeah, Kano. I don't know. I don't think there should be a price at all. Because like I said,
Rastafari.
Selassie.
I'm saying, Commander Kosnaide. Now, when we say Rastafari as a formidable political force, in my experience trading as Rastafari, I've noticed Rastafari used 3 different categories. So if a man say Rastafari, 1, His Majesty. So if it's about His Majesty, His Imperial Majesty, and Haile Selassie, he's a formidable political force. That one is established because world leaders reference him. They have to call on him for advice, to intervene in a lot of issues. So on the world stage, His Majesty has earned that position as a formidable political force. And I assume that the other 2, for instance, when we say Rastafari, we also make reference to Rastafari organizations, the UWF, the Bobo, the TTIs, the Rastafari Council Ghana, which has assumed a different, which is like not a mansion based, but seeks to sort of centralize Rastas for their common interests. So I see the Rasta organizations, and I also see the Rasta man. So when the word Rastafari is used, or the name Rastafari is used, from my experience, it has applied to these 3 different categories: the man, Emperor Haile Selassie, the organizations that organize under the banner of His Majesty, and then the individual within this organization. And I think, like I said earlier, His Majesty as a political force is established. But the organizations, when it was started, it looks like some of us, the basis on which these organizations started defined how much, whether it would be political or religious. But some of these organizations, especially mansions, we have positioned us, or we have achieved that status as a formidable religious force. But we are yet to, if the TTIs, the EWFs should take up a political position, political issues, and maybe even in our religious activities, we have also done a lot of political work, standing for, let's say, ganja, liberation of people's rights, the rights of disadvantaged people. And so even you can say that the mansions organizations are also doing some political work. But I think the individual Rastaman, today, if myself, I join TTI and I see it as a religious organization, as an individual Rastafari, I will not be a political force to reckon with. And so I'm thinking to achieve a formidable Rastafari, for Rastafari to become a formidable political force, the mansion should assume that trait of His Majesty that makes him a political force to reckon with. For instance, his voice for the oppressed. Anytime people are facing injustice, either the League of Nations, United Nations in Africa, His Majesty's, you hear His Majesty's voice. Not only his voice, but certain acts that shows that this person is trying to either bring peace, either bring solutions to people. How he elevated Ethiopia's educational system, Ethiopia's agriculture, and a lot. In terms of all these aspects that politics has to deal with, we have His Majesty's example to follow. And so I'm thinking, if the nation will take us very serious, the Rastafari organizations and the Rastafari individuals, we must align our politics with that of His Majesty. What does His Majesty stand for? What kind of education does His Majesty advocate for? What kind of agriculture does His Majesty advocate for? If the individual Rastafari and the organizations, we are able to articulate these things, I think we'll reach a level where the nation will feel that, yes, Rastafari is indeed a formidable force, a political force, or it's like a force to reckon with. Currently, when I see the individual Rastaman, I see some of us feel like it is not necessary to belong to an organization. And when His Majesty said, Kwame Nkrumah and the likes, they said organization decides everything. So being formidable, a lot requires us on how we can elevate ourselves from individual rasters to like forming that broom kind of becoming that kind of formidable organization. What this Rastaman is saying, this Rastaman is saying the same thing. This Rastaman is also saying the same thing. This Rastaman is also saying the same thing. And yes, and that will make the organizations, the Rastafari organizations, quite strong. Now, if you look at RCG, with all the experiences, education Rasta people have, sometimes how come we have executive positions and there's nobody filling that position? How come we have people in office who are not living up to expectation? I think some of these things, if we fail to address them, will not make us the kind of force that, formidable political force that, because RCG is known by the Ghana police. The ordeal that Jabeloved narrated. Yes, as Rastas were traveling to the last conference, the fourth conference in Kumasi, myself, Daddy B, Ancient, and Daddy B's wife. Of all the cars passing, they stopped our car and spent several minutes with us. Just because Ancient, he works with like 6 different matches box. And so they want to see every match box. And just imagine Ancient, my grandfather kind of person. And then I see a young boy, my age mate, trying to heckle my grandfather. It's not a pleasant situation as a Rastafari to put yourself into. Afterwards, we went to the Ghana police to demand that, no, we expect that Rastas be respected. And the police management board, they were able to issue a release to their members and tell them that from henceforth, you shouldn't discriminate when dealing with the Rastas. And I think that is something that it is easy for an organization to do. If it was a few individuals, it was Kofi Asante or Daddy or anybody working to a police friend, it will be hard to get to achieve this. But when RCG called on the police management board, we were able to at least get something for the Rasta community. And they even asked us that we should tell our people anytime there is such incident, they should report the particular incident and the officers in charge. And so, yes, when we are united, when every Rasta man sees the need to belong to a Rasta organization, and we carry the organizations on our shoulders and make sure that the objectives, the goal, the vision of that organization is met, yes, we can achieve that status that His Majesty has been able to carry that name, Rastafari, to, and being recognized on the world stage as a formidable political force. So yes, Rastafari is a formidable political force, but there is some internal work with our individuals' level of understanding and appreciation of the responsibilities in the organization. And there are certain responsibilities expected of the organizations. And when we assume this, we appreciate this, I think we can be that force to reckon with. I give thanks.
Yes, I. Enough thanks, Rasta.
Yeah,
Word sound power.
You see, this Rasta, people not taking concern in Rasta activities is one of the most discouraging things that we are facing. We've been facing it over the years, but right now it's very clear because if we are keeping the conference, most of the conferences you go keep ways in the name of Rasta. If you were the South Africans, the way they respond to Rasta issues when they are called, we here are bridging them. I don't know what is their problem, and sistering them. They don't come around, and it doesn't give us power. It doesn't give us a weight when we want to talk, and when we organize a whole conference and invite ministers and other government officials, and then when they come there, they come see just a few of us gathering there. We need to, I mean, some of the items who have other bridging them outside this ring should try and encourage them to, try and find. We don't say money matter hard now, but we should always try and find some time so that we can, when we call to meet together, apart from reggae music, we can still meet and do some works so that, like how Kofi Asante is saying, there are vacancies at the official positions, like in the executive positions. But there are no people who are volunteering to come forward. Meanwhile, you see some Rasta man somewhere, you start to talk to him about the council, and you start to tell you about, the council, Bosco alone sit down there and they want to chop the president and nobody else can remove him from there. This man, they do this and people just share the position for themselves. Meanwhile, announcement has been given several times for vacancies of positions. We need to put that in together. And as a lot of people, scholars, they are among us now. It may be like some of us, Buga wants some. So the idea have to put it together so that we can make Rastafari stand firm in Ghana. I don't know what we can do, but we need to encourage our members. I know some people just like to be by themselves, but when it's Rastafari, they have to come around. I think that is why if we try use the ganja legalization thing through our sacrificial, use the sacrificial language, where they say if you are not a Rasta man, you can't possess ganja. If we make it to that level, we say a lot of people will start to get serious. But still, will they come when programs are called? That's another question. And I think we need to really work on that. Over the years, bridging them, they will go see them at these places. Some programs will come on, they will come forward. But most of the time when there's a Rastafari council issue or something to gather Rasta people for some even demonstration and thing, you can hardly see them around. And that's not going to help us at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. On this one that President Kek say, make a continue from there. You know, the togetherness. I think sometimes we must exercise more goodwill than suspicion. You know, when Kwesi says something, I must look for the good inside it than to look for the negative thing inside it. When President Kek says something, I must look for the positive thing about it rather than to look inside the negative one. Let us have our eyes on the ball, not on the man. You know what I'm saying? So we can reason. Now, you know, some people to complain bitterly about sometimes what they see, and because of that, they can't come close to RCG. And that one calls for tolerance and discipline. Now, if we gather in the name of RCG, and that is where some people want to show that Rasta too can drink beer, somebody has to be broken because somebody has been saying that Rasta can't do that. So it's either we teach those who are afraid of that tolerance, or we teach those who like that discipline. So that, okay, we are going to a place where some people don't like that. Let me be disciplined. I can do that in my bedroom. Or when I come to other Rastas, let me respect them. Or that is what Rasta is. The other people must learn tolerance. They are my brethren. If they think that is good for them, they are still my brothers. We must teach them tolerance or discipline. Let's just take one of them. Either we exercise tolerance or we exercise discipline. Thank you.
Yes, sir, I give thanks. And let's all be guided by the fact that, let's take the Tower of Babel as an example, right? We can't all speak the same language. It's not possible. We just have to be. I think, say, in my new approach to uniting the front for the bigger struggle now, I tend to completely not see some of these little nuances that, for years have kept us apart, no? Really and truly, because fact of the matter is that if somebody drinks beer, but he thinks right, and somebody doesn't drink beer, but his mind is full of evil, which one would you rather deal with? I'm just saying. All right, more reason, brethren.
Radio culture.
Prof, why are you ready for your NCC now?
Empire.
Konkaya.
Well, give thanks for the reasoning. Just a few points, I think from where I stand, some of these things we have talked about it already, and I feel the whole idea that Rastafari as a constituency, if I want to put it that way, we have a lot of support, and I think that if we put ourselves in a position of being the voice of the people, then there's a lot that we can do. I think somebody mentioned the word pressure group. I remember, mentioning something of that nature, months ago when we had some reason like this. But I think one of the things that, we can look at doing, in my opinion, is, for instance, what is something that our people need? I gave this example also before, so I'm going to reiterate it. I feel, for instance, if we determine, okay, we are going to put pressure on whatever government it is to make sure that water is brought to every single community in Ghana.
That's
because
right.
Believe it or not, maybe sometimes because we live in places where we really have access to water and stuff, we forget there are plenty of places in Ghana where you go where water no there. I mean, places that are even close to cities that you go think water there, but you go there, water no there, right? So if we determine, okay, maybe, as an example, water is an issue where we would like to take up and hammer the government. Because really and truly, when we say water, I'm not talking about like water that's flowing through the pipes, right? That would be great. But many communities are just crying for a well, right? A simple well, many communities are crying for that. I've been to communities where the water we amount for the drink Rasta. It be pond where what you call a tadpoles, then things all the day inside.
Also, they come drink inside.
Rasta, where they take, you know, any animal they come drink for that water inside. Where the human being to they take in bucket, go drink for that same water inside. And I don't think, you know, in this present day Ghana, that should be tolerated. No. And as a Rastafari Council, you know, that's something we can identify and say, okay, we want water in every community. And by water, we don't mean say the water corporation for connect pipes and all these kind of things. That would be great, but we're not there yet. If we can just get a well in every community,
good enough access,
with a great aim, and then once that is achieved, we can move on to another issue. That is my thought, and I think that with that, we will have the support of the people. Most people who's going to fight you, say you won't bring a well into their community. Most people will be on board, right? So this is something that we need to also, I think we consider. On the other aspect, I think say nothing sells itself better than a great example, right? I know say, you know, there is, you know, disunity and all that kind of stuff. But trust me, a lot of people who are sitting on the sidelines, a lot of people who may even be, you know, opposed or whatever because of whatever experience they've had in the past. If the council is able to define and refine itself and get things going, that example is going to draw people in. I mean, we have a proverb that says nothing sells itself better. I mean, no, a good thing is the one that sells itself, right? So if you have a good product, you don't necessarily need to go and be shouting. At the home, right? So your position who said all the brethren and stuff, sisters and stuff who may be sitting on the sideline, they will now want to identify themselves with the adepa that we are doing. So these are things that we need to focus on, right? And as a council, I think that somebody just articulated perfectly. You know, if the council is a council that is representative of everybody, and I even want to say that in Ghana there may be more Rastafari who don't associate with any mansion than those who do, right? Then the council is representative of all the mansions and all the individual Rastafari who are not affiliated with anything. So I think that from that perspective, what are some things that are common to all of us that we can focus on as opposed to the things that divide us? I think somebody already mentioned this, but I'm just reiterating what a person mentioned, right? The things that we cannot agree upon, right? And to Mapse's point, you know, in order for us to be tolerant and for us to also be respectful, that all comes from our own liberty, right? The liberty that we are dealing with. So if you know, say, for instance, if I bring a book to your house, you go bore. I know that if I bring a book to your house, you don't want to see nothing about no book. If I bring a book to your house, you go bore. Why should I intentionally bring a book to your house? Knowing, say, this be your taboo thing. I'm just using a book as an example. I don't think anybody will vex if I bring a book to your house, but I'm just using it as an example, right? So in that vein, the council then will operate on the principle of neutrality, where nobody is, you're not harming anybody, you're not necessarily on anybody's side. You're just addressing issues that are common to Rastafari, primarily, also to the to the nation at large, right? So, these are my few points here. But I think that wrapping it up, I think for Rastafari Council, I'll give a typical example. There was just ended, I believe the conference, the Rastafari conference, right? Which just ended. I thought it was a great conference. But then when you look at the patronage, the number of people who were present compared to the number of Rastafari in Ghana, and not just the Rastafari, but Rastafari wives and children who could have also been present, that speaks volumes. So the question is, why people feel say the conference is not something where they will spend their money, come sit down and be a part of, right? Why are they even shying away from Rastafari Council of Ghana initiatives? These are things that we need to look into. But again, it all comes back to the point that at the Pandaton, so let's really position ourselves to get at the And then once we do that, I feel say, anybody sitting on the sidelines, anybody being in opposition or whatever, they'll begin to see that example, that light that is shining, and then want to be part of it. And you don't have to be part of the council per se, but you may want to contribute to the whatever objectives that the council is advancing.
In terms of the water thing you talked about, the thing is about money. So I think that the pressure rather should be, can Rastafari Council send a proposal to Parliament, for instance, let us tax the mining companies in Ghana to contribute for this project, at least a well in every community. We can start from there. Just draft a letter, proposal, whatever, and submit it. The government will use that to do it for the people.
I don't disagree with that proposal. I think that mine was more of a broad thing, and I think you're giving more a specific example, which is perfect. That would be a way to go, right?
Because look at the onion speaker, so let us give him the money.
Rasta, I agree with what you say, but Uka says you can't work here. Massa, I see all they spend money, fly Black Stars, go Africa Cup, World Cup, all this
Radio culture.
And we get people who don't get water they drink. You think the priority for me with the Black Stars or with the people who, they don't get water they drink. So, I understand what you say perfect. And the thing say, excuse where the government go give say they don't have money yet, to give us water.
In a country where people love Chelsea more than Ghana, no, you don't want to surprise you.
I mean, the happiness of the people is also vital, right? It's a board number, some money, yeah, but then at the same time, when you come to I think that's what Prof is trying to say.
How you go fit?
How you go fit? Yeah.
I think concerning that water issue again, as an organization, we should be able to liaise with some international donors, those charity organizations, the ones we know too much, cannot too much suspect, who can also contribute, and we lead them to the neighborhoods wherever we need the wells, and then they sponsor, and then we get water to the people. That will also show a good.
That's a brilliant idea, Pao, because come to think of it, imagine say we have 10 boreholes around Ghana, all sponsored by the Rastafari Council Ghana, right? Imagine say we go, and these projects are big capital projects, and it's very doable, especially with what Kex is saying. If you are able to liaise with bodies or even individuals outside. I was talking to Rastonto the other day, and we're talking about people like Burning Spear, and I hate to use him as the example, but really and truly, the kind of money that brethren like that have, he can build a whole village for some people. So if we have people like that who we know say they already are on the same path that we are treading, we can speak to them in a way where, and I know Spear has been doing some charity work in Jamaica. I believe, say, if we throw him a good enough response, and not just him, I'm saying him as an example, but all these are brethren and sisters with some wherewithal, right? They have good proposals. Okay, we want to show presence in Ghana until you're just you adopted 10 villages across Ghana. Every year, every 6 months, be one water project. And that's whatever it is that the community wants. No, it may not be water, it may be something else, that the community wants. Now you're born in some small way. Almost across Ghana. There are tangible projects initiated by the Rastafari Council. I think that it speaks volumes. Give thanks, Kex. That's a very brilliant point.
Yeah, man.
Daddy B, as you say, you come on. You go to chime in.
Radio culture.
Daddy Basco.
Greetings.
Yes, sir.
Greetings to Daddy B. Yeah, sorry for joining on late, but I picking up the vibe and I give thanks for the week. I hope and pray that as we develop these reasons, we can be able to put some of the things that we're talking about. For instance, the issue of providing water cost about 10,000 cedis to a borehole. These are things that if we set our mind to, like Jah Beloved was saying, doing 10 boreholes over a period of time, really beyond, so I'm loving the vibes, giving thanks for it. The other reason I go with thanks.
Yes, sir, yeah. And say that one go add to the influence as a political force. Because your baby almost some source of water, no. Rastafari in the day by Rastafari community in the day by when you say something, they hear you faster, don't they? Right? I think so. Versus say be our more edit tag be to so some for the and they don't have anything to compare it with. Right? But Tomoka say wonu we no share no nipa no kata say wonu we no wan for hwe am bisi wa ama no. But wonu wonu we no abema ni so say oh no. No damage. People are not stupid. And I think this is how we grow our base as a solid, formidable political force. So that if you look at us as the dreadlock people now, or as a winner, you don't see too many people, right? But the influence, the impact, it is there because when we speak, the people that we are able to reach, is what makes us a political force and a formidable one for that matter.
That's a quick one. So, who didn't show any bread on the panel, eh? That's a big banner because Unumu, Sunny Panel didn't show that bread on. On the crowd of Bejina, I fight against the park.
On the Chinese show crowd, what did you be Chinese show? If you so no.
So now these nice ideas have come. How are we implementing them? We shouldn't just be a reasoning of tonight and then it's just gone in. We should put them into, paper and start put them into use at the same time. So we just need to set up.
Let us write a proposal. Proposal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, let's suggest on what topics we should write, and then we write it, and then share it to the appropriate quarters.
Is it not water we are talking about?
And that is one.
What water is just one. The water is just one way.
Let's start from water. Let's compound it. Let's start from water first.
Yeah, Mapse, but what we are saying is water no is just one, right? You say okay, yeah, adopt you say 5 villages and I say 5 communities and I say the 5 of them may not have the same needs. Ebia you better one of the places. No more dada. But to hear something else, which could also be, and it's very vital. Let's also consider this. Let's not use a top-bottom approach, right? Now, it's baby, no decide to say, oh, no, go there, speak with the people, because maybe. Yes, but you are saying at the same time, Mapse, me share size 6. What could you shoe size 5.5? I bring me the bed in. It's important to speak with the people. One I will be idea, but if you call any kasaya no, ocean needs na partner na. It might even be cheaper than in so now the bread no. Maybe I didn't open. Wait till in so can cry in mienu and I mean sakra na amano. It's important to speak to people, find out what they really need. Don't sit somewhere and think say, oh, kofo but munya shoe.
But you can't say there'll be endless needs and wants. Let us start from one thing.
That's why there's priority. Map say that's why there's priority. It's utie or bon, right? Wakato so you nyansu anke yepe. And so at the same time, no, your school now was saying no, you're more some quality in chancing as a dressing or musia de. And to can you be man board dining so maya. Maybe I don't see your keke about tomu probiam and aboso. Right? It could be anything. Nana, speak with the people. They will tell you what they want or they need. And based on that, now what make an informed decision what the investment. And confluence between that and then
sorry, reason I should have say the person providing service so that this is here. So
as an example,
we can take on, but why not start from water?
There's not. Must starting from water. There's nothing wrong with starting from water. The American say before we put a water project in any community, and as any other project in any community, engage with the people, so say I didn't know a home faso. My member example, St. Peter's Secondary School back in the day, almost 2 borehole there was perennial water problem during the Hamatan. Perennial, like serious water problem. You baby home now the leaf near their 2 baby na ye jahoko. And it's only dripping gususa obeba bay 2 hours later, no in a bay half bucket. It was that bad, right? So this group called World Vision came and dug a borehole. Now, meaning someone near researching you said they dug the borehole and left. Yes, started saying so you know what happens? Ubu is see on ma in about 2 hours, so not done brown. Intino South being so the bed, and so be the sika, the machines, the nipa about be 2 borehole. I am Weduma, young fast out borehole, and Obioko St. Peter's beer beside this. That's the way I'm making. Almost bread to borehole, because when that make no, it's important say only nipa no more benefited from a day no. Ebe kasa no mo becho say yin so na kiepe, but sisi ha no e bia ye fom kwan kra no bridge kakra bia na kiefa so ko no wooden bridge de bubu enti yin aka be fix here no mo first. O na mi che de bia so ye sika be so no ne so ke no ye more of a priority to them than water. It's because there's anything wrong with the water no, but I'm just saying say yes.
Na say you come to you. You we are not a graduate. We can go to any other zone. But suppose they say but we need to have the list of things we have to do. And then we take one and start that one. When we finish, then we take our next one and start it again.
Mapse, besides, we are not experts in water. You're borehole experts. Because by force, issue. It only came up in the discussion. It's a good idea. But I think when we think beyond that, now we can also find some things where it's media boy. Mommy can't say there's some group baby or my call no or baby. All they need is some type of dehydrator beer. They bet me a ton with 2,000 CDs from China. Need to see what more. They are body process. Me too.
Of more than 100 items. So if you're counting needs of the community, you get more than 100 items. Can you provide all the 100 items?
We are not planning to provide 100 items, Mapse. We are not planning to provide 100 items. I feel, say, if you are planning and you refuse to explore other options, now first idea now stick it to Honum without looking at other options. I think that's not the best way to plan. Just my reasoning though. I feel so we should look beyond, we should look at the whole spectrum. So, okay, we are convinced that ensure and the way to go. But you say, okay, you find ensure community. Meanwhile, be and so now or be or Damango. It's even going to Damango Crapo to go make the project is another thing. But say 2 year boat near starting with Obia or Amamole. You bet Amamole quick, near Fort Bridge now more honum. If you're near regroup near before you realize nothing in next canon, Yamamole Dennis will be able to say, oh, yeah, there you bet me. So that gives us more of strength, right? To solicit or to do whatever we need to do to go on to the next project. By starting us, we already set pigeonholes for ourselves. Okay, it's water or bust. I feel say it's working against the idea, if you ask me.
I think that the opening are very fine, but I also think about a jack of all trades. Jack of all trades. Sometimes it leads to certain problems. You don't master any. That's what I'm thinking about.
But the idea is you're jack of all trades. That makes sense. We are not proposing to be jack of all trades. Right? Because again, Okan is answered there. We are not jack of water either. What do you mean? And TB Crampo, you bring your project there, Yankasana, bit me raise expertise from ourselves. Crampo near their quack. Listen, Prof has say, maybe your core community be mono. The omo person omo pay school. They want to start their own school. We have the expertise right here to start that. Let's not always think about then people need this, so I'm going to. And then I may 1 year again. So let's not be patronizing of people. Share no here in way and chine and me brown chine. No, bisano we diane na wudi no open chine de guma na they be mean krami be we mean din chine wofa. And kaminya ebia meko mo a. No wo meko na dia man uni meko na aka say uni mini meko but mami hwe say chire menya meko amawa. Something along those lines. But if you are going to determine what the people want for them, you'll be surprised that you put all your energy in it and you will not get the result that you were expecting. Very possible.
Put a package for water. If you need water, we'll come to your services. We'll provide our services for you. If we grow and we think we can diversify, there are endless lists.
I'm saying, unim, the average cost of providing a borehole. I'm so biaka but do you know anything about drilling boreholes? That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. But yet here their projects are we can raise the expertise from among us. Right here. But I'm saying
they have school needs. They have water is not their
That's
problem.
what I'm saying.
It takes a distance. They have to walk several kilometers to reach the school in other villages.
Yes.
So yes. Then
me patch up. I mean, no. Now you say to put up a single room, no. Say 8,000 blocks or something like that, right? In terms of it's a classroom, right? 16,000 blocks. It's a case of 16,000 blocks. Now you raise expertise from ourselves to put up, say, a 2 classroom project for community. Yeah, I also chance you and son of school, right? And then with the help of other professionals from among us now, we can even start organizing books and things like that for them. Versus insio, aebia insio no, or funny than it on my benyibi. All right, but what would that mean? That's why we have to speak with them. When they can say, "Obe who do here?" No, what so one day in Beswan. No, I hear no man. One day in Swan. Then maybe you can go to the next one, Nana Bibisa. Anna.
Where the come from? Where's the funding going to come from? Let's think about that. The funding.
I'm saying I can't be kaka and I can't something about liaising with, and I think that we should consider that as the prime source of funding rather than maybe a dues and anything. This won't do nothing. This is for running the organization. Yeah, it's for office work and stuff like that. When we really want money to do things, thank you for bringing this up, Mapse, because right? But fact of the matter is, organizing here, there are people who can support these things. And I've given an example. I know people who are doing charity work. But so onim se wo bibia wo ye wo honma. And so onim. But onim se wo bibia wo ye wo honom. With the branding that we can give it, right? With the trustworthiness that the Rastafari organization has now, we can definitely source funding to do some of these things. But while we are, and I'm not saying I have the answer to all of it. I'm saying that this is just one of the. All I'm saying though is the funding, we shouldn't think of it as you be treat your dues, 200. It will not work. It will take forever, and that includes farm projects now. We should really think of raising money outside of SAR, even the shareholders. It's not going to do it. It really isn't. Give thanks.
Something like RCG Foundation. Yeah, man. That is what I say. People like you, people who have the expertise in these things, to come in and put it together for us, because some of the ideas that you will big man them in brain and in even education and everything. So the idea come together.
Press cakes. Charlie, you be man to look up to you for the knowledge, and Charlie, you be educated, or that's the way they talk. Press man to look up to you, Charlie, serious, So make you forward the one you to bring to, make you put it all together. Yes, give thanks. Yes.
Fact.
Man, they understudy you, Man, they learn from way back.
I don't think
sir.
I see Keck's pedigree of experts on the topic of marijuana, cannabis, ganja, whatever you want to call it. Kex's degree of knowledge and expertise now, I think it's above that of the person that's representing Ghana at the United Nations. So let's be honest about that. I'm just saying.
If it's true matter, they talk.
But you know, be only there. You know, be only there.
Just one example. Yeah. That's just one example. But you people know say Kex be mine now. Kex know about gold and all that too. Like ethical mining and all of that. He's an expert in all of that.
I went into mining all. Building too. And I've just done some courses on disaster management, international diplomacy, and I think international human rights and all those things. So we're still studying at the background, same way.
Nice.
You can write the thing for us. You can write the proposal for us, Rasta.
I hate writing. Problem. I can't talk, but I don't like the Rasta. So.
Yeah, then we work together. You know? That's the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Like the fingers on the hand, right? We all, each one getting parts, right? Like the whole body.
Yeah,
we need each other. We need each other fully. Fire on all cylinders, you know?
True.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Rastafari.
You see, so today we don't have any question or answer section, because the whole thing, the question and answer, it's just general reasoning. So I just so we are going to do it. No, see.
Let's try to empower ourselves economically, because Charlie, people they watch how economical you feel control, where them they listen to you. So I got let's try to empower ourselves economically, because it's one way forward. And moreover, if you want to talk about funding, having RCG Foundation will be a very good start, because as you yourself you talk now, if people see say the foundation, all them know be say is to support the community. So if we have something like RCG Foundation, also running like the RCG Farms Cooperative, it will attract people, make them contribute towards things, because any charity project we will take, the RCG Foundation they go on this, and most of the foundations are being supported from people. Like for instance, myself personal Rastejo Foundation like this. Any project I want to, as I the sponsor, people they come for back, then come push them a hand inside. So I think we are on the right course, and with such suggestion, I think we can also make it work more. Bless. All right. Give thanks.
Yeah, man. Any more reasonings?
So right now, we were told some chief is giving us some land around almost on the way to Kaswade. And the place, the way it be, I don't think we can build any like solid permanent structures there. But my suggestion is if we can turn that to like our Rastafari center in Ghana, whereby we can have place to train the youth man them in whatever we would train them in, and we have accommodation like chalets and things for people who will come and visit.
But chalets be permanent too, okay? Or we go fit build chalets for there.
Yeah.
But that's permanent. But if you go fit do that there, but then what else do we need? Build that and build a couple more structures of that size for like office or something, Abi.
I think Bosso can tell us much about what we can put down there. But I think we should be as long as it's not like concrete and thing. I don't know the place that we are going to now to go and inspect the place and see. But we need to have some place as Rastafari where people can come to Ghana and know say if they go here. Formerly we have Rainbow Valley in Abadi where if people come to the city, they just go there and meet Rasta man them and things. Right now, we don't have any place. People keep asking I from Facebook and things, say they want to know where they can meet us. Sometimes we have to just direct them to the mansions, you know. So we put that into consideration.
Yeah, good idea. But my mind's still there on the 50-acre topo. But I guess we will talk about that later. But again, if we're not allowed to put permanent structures there, maybe Bosco can tell us more, like you said, but we can also consider prefab, right? Like prefabricated, structures, so that if we need to move them, we can move them,
Even mentioning the 50 acres of last time, I was saying that that 50 acre is a very massive game changer.
It is.
But even our political force
yes.
is a very big game changer.
Yes.
Look at this Asafo in movement for Dome. The man captured that place very long time, huge land. And now, if you look at the political stance of Dome Kwabinya, if Christo Asafo no day inside, it the be.
Fact.
So it's a very serious game changer.
Fact. What kind of crepa? And imagine, say we have 50 acres of land to ourselves as Rasta, where we they develop, where people they come there to come find work. That's a whole community. People they work there. People come there and work and go back home. People live there. People, all kind of things. That is what I am saying. That's what I'm saying. Because just this Christo Asafo thing you mentioned there, growing up, one of my uncles was, I can say he's one of the people that actually built this, because he was quite close to the man. And his daughter, who's my cousin, is actually working with the man now. She's a lawyer. She's one of the man's lawyers. And I know a lot about how Christo Asafo, and the man had such influence over his people. And he says, okay, everybody should come to the farm and weed. Everybody will show up, including if he says, come with your wives. They will show up with their wives as well. His Majesty has a stronger influence on I. So let's take that as the influence, as the power right now, which should propel us to do what we need to do. But the thing is that the man was able to garner all that energy, together, whatever influence it was he used, because the man said make nobody know, even the women themselves know Camus wear jerry curls, but they wear jerry curls, and still, he tried with it, nobody tell him nothing, you understand? But
it be serious.
No, I'm just saying, that's on the side. But I'm saying, look what, and the man in times of disaster could go give the Ghana, they're kind of saying, disaster for 100 and something bags of maize. That is political power. It is. Into 50 acres, there was a funny, serious I'm saying, you say a chair that you have solid discussion on it. How to acquire it, how to start the project, what to put on the land, all of those things. We have to have a very solid discussion on that. But and then here was special topic I need discuss, right? Into Wenabano, I was said the leadership that you're here, please take it up. That's what we're forming committee. So we're sign for another meeting with everybody. So then I'll leave that to the leadership, but let's take it up. I think say Kex is the first person who put this point on who said, let's not just talk and leave it. Let's make sure there's action, attached to the talk, so that because like I was saying the other time, of course South Africa, some conform go say if you see the way they are running their community now, it is everything that we have ever professed. It is Marcus Garvey and everything that you ever heard about, except that it's being practiced by a group of white people in South Africa. Some people are implementing even what we are saying, for themselves. It's about time that we also do same for ourselves. I give thanks. Last year.
Radio.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yes, sir. We give thanks. Rastafari. Jah Beloved has taken us through a topic not only presented but helped moderate as well the topic. And has given us all platforms to share our views on the topic. At this stage, I want to ask if anybody has anything they would like to add up before he gives us his concluding remarks.
I just hope points are taken down so that we can work with it from here.
Yes, and good thing is it's being recorded both by the council under the able leadership, in terms of that department, I should say, of Ras Kofi, and he's recording that. So at least, if not anything, we can go back and watch and rehash the ideas. We're also live on Radio Culture and on iCulture TV, so we also have that recorded and documented as well. This is something we can always go back and have a discussion with. But right? So once we sit down again, we can always fine-tune the ideas, things that have to be kept a little more. Because again, we can't. This discussion we're having is live on it's live, it's in public. But there are some things that we have to discuss as a family, as a unit, So Mapse me no ya adwin ya tena se nanu anie enso ye wie nso e wo se san so kɔhye piem na ye kan asɛm ne bi so e wo kokoam kakra ohun da me chei.
Very well, very well.
Nice one, give thanks.
Yeah, speaking of which, not Ras Edge O'Connell. You're talking about Rastafari Foundation. Felicia said a brilliant idea. Take it very seriously. Say if we're saying that you've been here funding, saying O'Connell, job love it. Truly, use the idea baby. We have to go where the money there. So we have to immediately act on it. And I think all this, if we talk about that, if we start identify a particular person will be responsible for finding the connections, working on the connections that being in thing they do. Right? So we not just sit down and say, we for do this. Somebody there where that be preoccupation. You wake up morning, that be the thing they think about. If you do all the things finish, you want to see how many people they contact. Where these people they go. In job they say to make sure the Rastafari Foundation have the thing where they need so we can do the projects. And another thing I want to talk about, one last thing I want to talk about, because all these things we talk about to be truly formidable, I think so if we think, our premise be the black world. Because Ghana, if we think on the level of Ghana, we are feeble and brittle. Give thanks.
Selassie.
Thanks.
And this issue that just came up, we have like the Mali Foundation, for instance, which is very, very, very visible in Ghana, right? I know they have their own things that they do and things like that. But I know that they also enjoy a lot of support from the Rastafari community. Can't we ask them to at least chip in a little bit? And it's just not just the Mali Foundation. We have all different other types of foundations springing up. Alton Ellis Foundation was supporting something the other day. There's some Peter Touch Foundation. Joseph Hills Foundation is there. I've identified Burning Spear. And it doesn't just have to be the reggae artists or anything like that. These are just ones that come to mind easily, right? That I know, we can do some things with, right? There are people, there's this brother in the Bronx, or an herbalist. Your friend is saying, Cormante, that's his name. Cormante, how was I going to forget Cormante? I don't even know, sir. But yeah, he spells it differently though, but he's called Cormante, the Jamaican brethren, serious herbalist with a setup like a herbal clinic in the heart of the Bronx. Very influential, very wealthy. Oko Ghana a lot. He attributes a lot of his knowledge in herbs to his visits to Ghana, which is why he calls his establishment Cormante, right? People like that, if we approach them with a solid enough proposal, they will be more than happy to chip in and say, they also contributed their quota to things like that. I think we just need to take it a little more seriously than we are doing right now. And I think we'll have great results. Give thanks.
Quick one. So you see right there, you're talking a lot about the black world, right? You're talking about the expanse of the black world. That's Rastafari.
Basically.
That will be our standpoint. Yeah, and maybe push it like that, So I'm and also like you said, if we have to, they're gonna be follow up meetings where we will concretize some of these decisions, right?
Yes.
So there we go work on these things like who to contact, who to work with, and all that. So yeah, give thanks. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Selassie.
Yeah. Yes.
Rastafari. But you will be here or close last words before. Daddy, my last words now.
Culture.
Yeah, beloved, am I in the closing remarks? And Prof. But your last words be answer. Your very closing remarks now. Yeah, Prince Awini. Yeah, one of our newest RCG members. Thank you for being part of the meeting.
His hand was up for a while, but
so sorry. You haven't said anything. I saw a message you saying that Parliament of Ghana has approved the Narcotics Control Commission Regulations 2023, officially legalizing the cultivation and management of cannabis. What happened to that pronouncement? I think that was from Prince Awini. So Raz, if you are here, you can, let's hear your voice. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is better. I think it's Awini. I'm really glad to join you guys this evening. And I really learned the reason session too much. I'm here to study more about the council so that I can contribute meaningfully to the development of the Rastafari Council of Ghana. But my issue was, we're talking about how to make our political stand very firm based on the talk about the marijuana production and how people are being discriminated or brutalized when they see them with meat. And I was looking like if Ghana Parliament was taking a way forward towards that, to where Ghana we can legalize, they can have the control of the production of meat for commercial and medicinal purpose. We wanted to find out how far with that pronouncement in Parliament, whether they have dropped it or it's still in progress. And if it's still in progress, what can the council do to make sure that they fast track the implementation of the act so that we can really make use of the help? Because it's very, very valuable that you can use it in so many ways. Not necessarily for smoking. I don't smoke, but I see that it's not bad. To look at the economic purpose and the medicinal purpose of the herb, not for the smoking. Whether the law is there or not, people smoke. In my backyard, they use that keep smoking the way you want. So whether you have law or not, you cannot even prevent the use of smoking. They would rather try to emphasize on the government to put measures where people can cultivate the herb, process it, and we can use it for the economic reasons and the medicinal purpose rather than the smoking. Thank you. And I'm most grateful that I'm showing the other people. That the good school, I've been watching you from afar when I was a young boy. Thank you.
Okay, I need to jump in small. I don't know much about where the law reached now. But what I know is that the law as it is now allows you can possess if you want to get a license and cultivate, you cultivate something we call 0.3% of THC.
0.03.
0.03. That one there is no THC at all. And if they say medicinal marijuana or medicinal aspect of cannabis, you can't take out marijuana out of it because marijuana is the medicinal aspect. Marijuana is a medicinal aspect, and they, due to Nanajiman's influence, they decided to accept the hemp and then fight against marijuana. But that is what is causing people dying now from police brutality and sin. So we as Rastafari Council Advocacy Committee, we are still fighting for the decriminalization. Actually, we want to abolish prohibition totally because we don't even have to go and take license before we grow weed as indigenous. Maybe if somebody is coming from foreign, we have a different provision for them, but as indigenous, we don't have to. But it's going on that way already, so we'll follow it up and let them happen. But if they say, people say smoking, I don't see how people can separate smoking of marijuana from medicinal aspect of marijuana because the best way.
I'm sorry to hold your stick up in, but we will come back in. I just want you to answer the question along the lines that these people, what they are thinking about is not what we are thinking about as the ganja. right? What they are thinking about is completely different. So let's not be fooled with the newspaper captionings. Let's not be fooled.
Yeah. So they are not. We are what the fight we started is not what we are getting. Anytime I get any interviews, that's what I try to explain to them. Right now, nobody should be even punished for for possession of cannabis or ganja, but people are dying from it, and we need to wake up quickly and fight against it. That is why we wanted to use the high court level, because the parliamentarians are very pussy. We talked to them already. I spoke to Seta Champon last year, and he said that, we have to crawl before we walk. Ghanaians don't understand ganja at all. So if they even allow us to be using they are cool for us to start legalizing the hemp, eventually they will try and introduce the cannabis, the ganja to them, so that they will also accept it, and then that one too will be decriminalized. But at least with the level we reach is that if you have been arrested for ganja, you shouldn't get custodial sentence. That one we have achieved it. There can't be custodial sentence for ganja now. So me, about 3 times after this law was passed, 3 times police catch me, and I just tell them to take me to the police station. They go and park, and they are begging me to give them something because they don't want to take me to the station 3 times. Because of that, right now, police don't come to my house frequently like that to come and arrest me for it, because they know that they will not get any money from me. So people have to be bold enough to stop being afraid of being stigmatized. So if police catch you now, you go have to beg and pay money. When police catch you with ganja, you follow them to the station and get someone to come and bail you, because there's bail for narcotics now. So that we can also try and discourage them from arresting us. Because if they catch you, then they start to scare you. Oh, if we take you, go this, what they go do you? Then people are afraid. And some man them too don't want to be arrested. Say they don't want to make anybody yet to be arrested with ganja and thing. All those self-stigmatizations or contribute to the police to intimidate people and take their money. So we need to pursue the law and try and get the ganja legal, because they are cheating. The government can just start to make money out of ganja, out of hemp, and think the rights of the users of marijuana should be trampled upon.
Kex, I think we should hold a special session on this topic again, right? And speak about it in much more detail, because the nuances in the matter, I don't think you wait me to deal with it at the tail end of the lecture. It's heavy. I have so many responses in my head, but I'm also painfully aware that the time is up. Truth of the matter is, these people are not thinking of. They have not decided. Then they have not legalized any marijuana at all. The only concession that has come in any custodial sentence as Senana Keksekano. That's the only thing. Beside that, that's how come policemen can still pick up the young 30-year-old guy and kill him. Because why? Because he smoked marijuana. Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. And again, we have vested interest. This is a heavy subject too. Somebody called me when I treated this topic and told me, I've jumped in on the deep end. I don't know how to process that, but I know how to process that. And I give him a fitting response. Thing is that they are vested interest. They are not interested in you smoking your ganja. They're interested in bringing in multinational companies to grow hemp fiber marijuana, right? Hemp fiber cannabis or whatever in Ghana to make money. They don't care whether you get arrested 10 times or 100 times, or they don't. Until let's set time and get deeper into this thing. Let's hear what the so-called experts say. Meanwhile, I have an interview that I did with Seta Champon, same Seta Champon that you mentioned, Kex, who, by the way, is the expert, right, at the United Nations. I will post that interview in the Rastafari Council chat, in the WhatsApp group. Please, anybody who has time, listen to the man himself. And make sure so be as much understanding as I do. Find out for yourself how much these people are ready to do anything about your freedom to smoke ganja. You will get your answers from that interview, I believe. But then we can also set up another lecture and go deeper into it and see what we can do. Because right now, a lot of our people are under the false impression that some law has been passed to decriminalize marijuana. It has not happened at all. All they did was to try to make it easy for they themselves and their cronies to come and grow hemp fiber cannabis for export. That one you can't smoke.
Yeah.
So let's get that clear. Anyhow, like I said, I think we should find time and go deeper into detail on that. Enough thanks.
Give thanks.
Selassie, my brother, give thanks.
Yes, sir.
Give thanks for the reasoning. I look forward to the next session. Bless. Prince Awini, bless you.
Same wise, give thanks, nothing.
Yeah, so my lord, at this stage, we invite you to give your closing remarks. I don't know if Prof. Will or anybody else has anything to add up. If not,
no, sorry, Manko, give thanks.
Give thanks. Yes, my lord. Then,
all
please
right.
give us your closing remarks.
So, closing remarks, really quick. Today has been a very great discussion, great collision of minds, and I think that we should have more of it. And I particularly like this format because it's not so much a lecture as a reasoning session, as a groundation and a collection of ideas on what and how best, sometimes like, Mapse will bring some idea which is not really what you are proposing, and then you rub it against each other and find out maybe there'll be a confluence between the two, that type of thing. I think we should encourage a lot more of this. I think we should be grounding more, right? Because we cannot sit and, as I keep saying, be subject of the policies that these people make without making an input, or at least resisting some of the things that they put up, because if we say, you meet some racists who be like, oh, me, I'm not political, or me, let them do their thing. No, they'll go and sit down and make laws. Say, like just some years ago, right? They went and said, oh, if you're caught with marijuana, it's summary conviction. They did that in Ghana. We were right there.
They say it's a second degree felony.
There you go. For smoking marijuana. Are you serious? And like I said also, let's bring the discussion home. I won't say let's stop having the discussion among ourselves. That needs to go on. But let's extend the discussion, because I used that boy's issue today on our show this morning as an example. Say Papai Otihoye Nijuma on Yebeka ni saying on ko bibia. Oshe Papa ni na say sebi we impo. There's no correlation. He doesn't look like he even knows what weed looks like. And so autonomous salvation no pa yesterday yekuniba. Why? Because okonunwi, right? So if we bring the discussion home, let people feel it. People who are not even users of marijuana no feel say it extends to them. Oh, Banas, how did you go to school? You don't know when your boy will learn to take a puff or two. Let's say that was his first time trying it out. Peer pressure. And then some people pick him up. And the next thing I'll bet you say we were. Saying I'll be feeling. So when we bring the discussion outside of the closet, out there, for everybody to have a slice of it. Yempe obia example e wo mo ma no. Obia so many example because if fear bia ebusue bia, you find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who smoke marijuana in there, or who use it in some form or the other. Right? But beyond that, forming the bigger political force, I'm happy that the other time we were able to speak about, plugging into the existing framework of, the politics now. And then today we've looked beyond that at forming pressure groups, forming a political force that does not have to register with the EC, but has as much impact. Because fact of the matter, say what is going on with the marijuana situation now, considering the fact that every major town in Ghana has a ghetto or two. Yamfo na semisi no mwakuku boy no. It's such a small town. But utia sema mokana almost don't move you one place or move you one wee base, another wee base. And move the koshia guy Which means that even in a small community like Yamfo, they have 2 wee base there, maybe more. That means if we go to the we base and we tell the people, say, people, listen, this is a matter at stake. So dog your NDC, dog your NPP, vote for the issue. NDC and NPP will be forced to put marijuana in their manifesto. Believe me. So let's put some pressure, and that's how we form that political force. No, when we sit down to talk behind Kwesi E, let's also consider that how to really outreach into the so-called ghettos, no, and make a stronger constituency with the people who go there, so that they would see the fight that we are fighting and realize that it is their fight, and therefore they should be on this side of it all, and that is how we will expand our impact as a formidable political force as Rastafari. And with that, I give thanks for all the work that has gone in to making this lecture possible. Ras Kofi Asante, Charlie, oh, your guy, Buta, the amount of work you do to make these things happen, me, I envy you from a distance. And Ras 7 Fireside, Doc, Upon Wadie, everybody else. President
Rasejo.
Yes. That's the one I was trying to remember. Rasejo, yes. And the whole entire team. And in fact, everybody who made it on the reasoning today. President Bosco, I'll touch base with you on one or two things behind the scenes. Why? With that, enough thanks. Give thanks for word, give thanks for sound, give thanks for power. Almighty God, Emperor Haile Selassie Jah. Rastafari.
Lord, we give thanks for the reasoning, causing us to enter our intellect and to prefer solutions to the problems that bedevil us as a Rastafari community. I trust when the time is up for us to get the work done, we all avail our intellect, our strength of arms, knowledge and all that. So we want to appreciate on behalf of the Education Commission, all of you, especially that be your leadership and everybody for your presence. We will meet next 2 weeks with another interesting topic and another speaker. We'd like to mention that we also have, we like the potential speakers. We have dates that nobody or resource person has allocated to themselves here. So please, if some of our resource persons here have topics that they would like to make presentation on, we'll be glad if they contact us with these topics and we can put them on the schedule. So we give thanks for the reasoning and we'll converge next 2 weeks. We appreciate you, Jah.
Rastafari. Give thanks.
To request if the presentation can be retaken again, because I missed that presentation and we don't have any recording of that. So if I could request that and we could have some free time along the line, let's request for that reasoning again so that we can have a record of that particular one.
Yes, Ras, we'll reason with that on that.
Thank you, my Lord. Give thanks.
So please,
Rastafari, give thanks for your time.
Yes, indeed. And that's how we draw the curtain down on today's lecture. Today, yours truly had the honor to present the lecture. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with another lecture, just like the moderator stated. My name is Kwesi E Baako. You can call me Jah, beloved. I am Al. Thank you very much.